Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and we're continuing with our look through the birds, and we're following up with a record by a solo bird, the main bird, Mr. Roger McGuinn. This is his 1976 album, Cardiff Rose, released in May of 1976 and produced by Mick Ronson. Now, the interesting thing about this album, McGuinn had joined up with Bob Dylan on the infamous Rolling Thunder tour, which was a review, the Rolling Thunder review. It was McGuinn, Joni Mitchell was around, several people, and McGuinn was there, as well as Mick Ronson, who played in that band, in the Rolling Thunder review band. And so they went into the studio to make this album. And the cover kind of says it all. There's a pirate song on here called Jolly Roger. It's a song about King Arthur's Round Table. There's also a recording of Joni Mitchell's song Dreamland. So the camaraderie of that tour kind of influenced a lot of this album. Now, McGuinn, who is a longtime folkie, so there's some of those like folk and sea shanty type songs, but there's also and I think thanks to Mick Ronson, some sort of harder edged rock songs, and even a little bit of what I would call some songs that owe tip of the hat to the burgeoning punk rock scene. There's a song on here called Rock and Roll Time, which definitely owes a little bit to punk rock. Roger McGuinn wrote all of the songs on the album except for Rock and Roll Time, written by Roger McGuinn, Chris Christopherson, and Bobby Newirth. He also co-wrote with Jacques Levy, who was a partner in crime with McGuinn and Dylan at the time. Also on side 2 opens up with Up to Me, which was a Bob Dylan song. And again, I mentioned Dreamland. This also has Roger McGuinn's version of Pretty Polly, which he did with the Byrds during Sweetheart of the Rodeo. But this was a newer, updated version that McGuinn had done. And so the album really kind of is an interesting mix because it's got this very sort of hard rock sound, but it has stuff like sea shanties and these sort of classic folk songs. But it makes for a very cohesive album. McGuinn's solo could be spotty at best. I like a lot of his solo stuff, but I understand that a lot of it is uneven. This is an album that you can put on and kind of follow it all the way through, and it holds up very well. That's the inner sleeve with the lyrics, of course, on the Columbia label. And it does make for a really, really even listen. Now, again, because of the Rolling Thunder connection, some of the personnel on the album, Mick Ronson, David Mansfield, Rob Stoner played bass, Howie Wyeth, Timothy B. Schmidt sings some vocals on here. So it has that sort of a band that had been touring together, so it's got a tightness that kind of holds all the proceedings together. And that really was a very cohesive, well put together band. And so if you're not sure about Roger McGuinn as a solo artist and you like the Byrds, this might be a good place to start. It's a little edgier than you might expect from the Byrds, and particularly a folky artist like Roger McGuinn. But as of just a solid, cohesive listen, it holds together very well. So that's why, continuing with the Byrds, today's daily record is Cardiff Rose. Go back to the first video in this series where I talk about Mr. Tambourine Man to talk about this contest, or check out my other channel where I go over the rules of the contest. And like, comment, subscribe, share. What are your thoughts on this album? Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I love interacting with you guys. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Byrds Daily Record.